Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 91 of Brewing Live for Mental Preparedness. This is Master Coach A coming in live for your noontime conversation here at Decaf Coffee Republic. This is our community service, and I'd like to give a big shout out to every tribe builders, to all my MBA students, Master Builder Apprentice, who's been carrying and serving for the last 90 days for mental preparedness. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat and big shout out. In the recently concluded Marina or Maritime Industry Authority webinar series for mental health, there are 5 things that I shared about making a decision. Top 5 decisions to make for every seafarers. I said contract extension, contract renewal, getting on board, health prerogatives, and financial decisions. These are 5 top decisions that every seafarer, every new heroes on board, on ship, on cruise are making every single day. And on the average, at least many of them is making a decision on 3 items. Will I continue being a seafarer? Will I still be on board? Will I stop? What will be my health prerogatives if anything happens to me or my family? What would be my financial capabilities or positions in the years or in the months to come, considering that pandemic continued to linger and continue to affect every major decisions? And this is just like about the seafarers, one of the biggest industries. What about you? What industry do you belong? What industry do you represent? Where do you stand in this season of pandemic? We are now on year 2. This is the second year that each and every one of us is being challenged with making decisions, certain decisions during this time of uncertainty. Let me know in the chat box if you are one person who's being challenged. If you are one person who's thinking, what are this decision making I need to do, even if pandemic continue to be the biggest mover of each and every person's decision, be it a household, be it a school, be it a government office, be it the Fortune 500 companies in the world today consider and put pandemic or COVID-19 as a top mover or a top priority when they make decisions. What about you? If that is you, let me know in the chat box and type in the chat box COVID-19. Let us just like acknowledge as we begin today our conversations on making decision how we see COVID-19. Sometimes we shy away from it. We don't want to talk about it. And we just want to pretend that we're getting by, we're okay. Or if you are a survivor of COVID-19, or maybe a member of your family have been affected with it, or maybe you are one person who's heavily laid down, and you don't even know how to pray, how to respond to series and multiple notice in a day that somebody got positive, somebody died, you lost a friend, you lost a batchmate. If you are one person and you're connecting with me, let me know in the chat box COVID-19. At a certain point in time, when you make a decision, certain decisions during uncertain times, one thing that we need to consider is that our position, our stand, our disposition about what is uncertain. What is uncertain? You cannot make certain decisions without acknowledging what is uncertain. And I'd like to post this right now as we begin our conversations that COVID-19 is something uncertain. It is uncertain. Many people would say it's certain, it's a virus. Yes, it is a virus, but apart from being a virus, apart from now when you hear the word positive, it gives you a chill. Many years back, when you hear the word positive, it means more often than not is that you are carrying a baby. You're carrying a life. Positive means I'm pregnant. Okay? So like when you get home, okay, I think the first time I got pregnant, I came home and I said, my husband, I'm positive. And it means that I'm carrying a baby. Okay? You get to your friends and say, hey, I'm positive. You're giving birth after 9 months. It's a positive. It speaks of life. Today, when you hear about positive, it gives you a chill because positive what? Positive COVID. And it means that anytime life can be taken away from us. And if you're connecting with me, let me know in the chat box the chills, the concerns when you hear the word positive. What are your thoughts? Okay. So this, it might sound certain that we got COVID-19, but this is the uncertain fragment. This is the uncertain element when we make decisions at this moment. We're now on year 2, and our tribe, Decaf Coffee Republic, our hub, our company, continue to advance. Not just a place of refuge. Today, we're also challenged because we can't have you on board at home. We can't have you physically. But we continue to advance because one of the certain decisions our company have to make is that, are we going to continue operating despite and in spite of all the financial challenges that we have to face? Are we going to be standing still as the lamp house? Are we going to be still here serving despite and in spite people are scared to have a face-to-face conversation? How about you? What are the common every single day decision making that you have to make? Are you concerned about getting married? That's a certain decisions you have to make. Are you going to get married the person of, that God have given to you? Or you feel so uncertain because a family member died and you're challenged. So at least for this year, I've witnessed, and there are incoming weddings that I'm going to be witnessing as a sponsor. So there are people who said, okay, it's uncertain, but I'm certain to get married. I'm certain to continue. I'm certain that I want to spend the rest of my life with this beautiful person. What about the entrepreneurs, okay, who started their business during uncertain time? They're certain. They're certain that when the economy changes, they're certain that one thing they can do is to hold grip and take a decision now about their finances, not to let go of their options to be an entrepreneur, not to let go of their options and opportunities to finally monetize their skills, their talents, their passions. What about education? We know that one of the industry that totally have been shaken and needed to take a big shift is the educational system. What about the children going to school and being forced to transitions to online? From them being sociable outside, from them seeing their friends, their classmates, going through an educational journey with people around them. Now they are closed in a room with no one else, just the room. What about your decision as a parent when you start seeing your children crumbling down, struggling, and barely can afford to continue? Are you making the decisions to consider what they need during this time? Or are you still on the point where you have to finish your education? You have to continue. Are you still on the posture of you have to finish college no matter what happens? So these are major decisions or certain decisions that we all need to make every single day of our lives in a midst of amidst uncertainties. And why I want to talk about this is because maybe we're just like brushing it off and saying, I'm not affected. But truth of the matter, this is one cost of stress. This is stressful. This is stressing us out. How could you make certain decisions during uncertain times? So today, as I come on board and serve, and like when I say serve, truth of the matter, I mean, I'm grateful that I can still be serving. The decision to come out every single day to serve and continue is one of the biggest decisions every service provider would do, every business owner would have to do, or every employee must do. Do we continue to carry the load? Do we continue to serve? Do we continue to work? Do we continue to increase our value? Or do we reserve everything else that we have in our possession and make sure that we're going to be lasting for the next 3 years maybe, or until pandemic ends? All of this is mentally tasking, and challenging. If you are connecting with me, let me know in the chat box and say connecting. Hashtag connecting. Let me know if we are starting on the ground that you are in agreement and in connections that today making a decisions is truly, truly mentally tasking, mentally challenging. How many of you here connecting? How many of you relating? Or how many of you here know someone else who's going through tough times right now? I truly encourage you not just to tag a friend, not just to tag somebody on the chat box, but truly send a link. Send a link to this video. Let them know that making certain decisions during uncertain times is something that we have to be responsibly doing. We have to rise up. Life continues. Life goes on every single minute. Okay. Last night, my daughter asked me, do we have a record? Do we need to, can we track how many people right now is alive in the Philippines, or what is the population of the Philippines? And I said, yeah, there's a counter, in fact, global. But to the matter, do we really know how many people still alive today? Every single second, there are people dying in the hospital. There are people dying in the jungle, people dying in the forest. We don't know. And there are also people giving birth. We don't really know how many people alive. We don't really know how many people are dying every single second. But one thing I know, you and I, if you're still watching, you're still breathing, and you're still here, and you're still connecting, and you can still hear me, it means that you and I can still make certain decisions about our life. Whether you are clinically diagnosed of mental health illness, whether you are one person who's thinking, Coach, I feel I'm challenged, or you're one person and say, no, I'm perfectly all right, I'm perfectly fine. One thing I know, making certain decisions during uncertain times is a stressful thing for you. And it's just a matter of time when you need to face that there are decisions that you cannot park and continue to park and say, until then, until COVID is over. We can't do that. There are decisions that we have to make today. There are decisions that we have to say yes today. Okay. So think about, if you continue to run away from making certain decisions, think about the stress. Think about when you are being forced to make this decision and you cannot own your own decisions because at that moment in time, you are being pressed. Okay. So one thing that I want you to take a look at is this. Making a decision, certain decision during uncertain times requires the right mindset. Requires the right mindset so that we can take our own decisions and own it. Let me repeat that. We can take our own decisions and own it and become responsible for it. Not all decisions will be right, or not all decisions will yield the results that you want. But becoming the owner of that decisions and becoming responsible for that will help you to nurture and strengthen your decision-making muscles over time, whether on pandemic, whether on uncertainty, during uncertain times of our lives. That nurturing, that strengthened muscles to make a decision will avail much for you. You need the right mindset to make the decision, because the right mindset will help you to practice self-regulations. Okay? What does it mean? Self-regulated decisions are better than decision made when you are triggered. How many of you here have encountered moments in your lives when you are making decisions because you are triggered? You're triggered by fear, you're triggered by anger, you're triggered by offense, you're triggered by that kind of emotion that is not serving you very well. The right mindsets for decision making will help you to practice self regulations and make decisions even before you need to take that action. The right mindsets on making decisions will also help you to collaborate with others And collaborations means not just with anyone. During uncertain times, collaborations need to be with the right people. And what is the definition of the right people? Right people means people who share the same values, people who understand you more than the challenges that you have. Let me repeat that. People who understands you, who knows you more than the challenges that you have or probably facing at this moment in time. Truth of the matter, when you and I is facing difficult times, challenges, we are not at our best. We can try, but that's not our best. That's not who we are. Okay? That's not perfectly who we are. Just a fraction, just a fragment of who we are. When you get into a mindset, okay, that you need to be able to have this frame of thoughts, this frame of mind, and this shift, okay, so that you will be able to take responsible decisions, not trigger decisions, so that you can practice self-regulations and you can collaborate with the people that would allow you to make decision making responsible, especially during uncertain times. You will be proactive to take at each and every decisions you're making during this time as a choice and a privilege. A lot of people are given the choice, but a lot of people are not making the choice because they fail to see that making a choice is a privilege. Not everyone is privileged to make a choice. And so, in this conversation, one thing that I want you to bring home as a hashtag pack my bag moment is that making a choice, being able to make a choice is truly a privilege that I want you to hold in your heart very dearly. Whether it is a time of uncertainty or certainty, making decision is a privilege. Let me know in the chat box if you are connecting. Put it privilege. Let me know if you are truly believing that making a choice, being able to make the choice is a privilege. Let me know in the chat box. Let me know in the chat box. Okay? So, you are one person today that you are having difficulty how to make a choice, how to make a decision. I'm going to give you tips. I'm going to give you some hacks that you can carry on, that you can practice so that making decisions during these uncertain times is not just bearable, but very responsible. And if at any point in time, these hacks, these tips is no longer serving you, know that this is the best time now to seek professional help, to support you, to journey with you. Okay? So if you're ready, let me know in the chat box. Hashtag ready. Type ready in there so that we can now proceed with my hacks and tips on decision making, certain decisions during uncertain times. All right? So, how many of you here? Let me know in the chat box. Put in there. Yes. Okay. You are faced today with decisions where there are known and unknown elements. Let me know. How many of you here are making decisions where the parameters are both internal and external? How many of you here are making decisions where the parameters seems to be super big that you could not even imagine? Some of you are making decisions that is so tiny, so petty and small, and yet you are not moving and you're stuck. How many of you can picture now that this is the kind of situations or predicament that you are facing every single day when you're making decisions? Let me know in the chat box. Let me know if you're connecting. The purpose of this mapping, all of these things is because, okay, the more ready you are to face the truth about our uncertainties, the more courageous we can be in making certain decisions. So let's proceed. Tip number one, hack number one, okay? Practice, like intentionally practice self-regulation, okay? And how do you do this? You know that, for example, you are having a daughter, a son on homeschooling today, or on distant learning, or in a different challenge, okay, in a different structure of learning. One thing you know is that there are times that you are triggered when you receive their school reports. It could probably not what you're expecting. And you know it could happen. You know because you heard of it. You know because you're starting to see your son, your daughter struggling. You know because your son, your daughter is starting to be quiet, not talking about school. You know that. Now, what would you do? Practice self-regulations. How? Think about the moment when your child, when your daughter, when your son comes to you and talks about situations that you're going to be hearing for the first time. Will you be making a triggered decision? Or at that moment in time, you say, I am in control. I am in control of my choices. I am in control of how I would respond. Practice. You run out of something at home. Practice self-regulations. How would you respond? How would you regulate your emotions? Are you going to position on the state of lock? Oh, I just can't get this because it's pandemic, it's COVID, I'm restricted. Or say, hey, I ran out of this material, I ran out of this stocks, and have the perfect opportunity to outsource. I have the perfect opportunity to be creative. I have the perfect opportunity to find a replacement that probably just sitting here in my house all this time. Practice self-regulations. You are in control of how you respond, but definitely it takes practice. And if you don't make it perfectly right today, then tomorrow is another day. You can make it, you can try it, you can practice it. My super simple duper duper tip to you, like super duper simple tip to you, is try self-regulation for things that is so petty but truly irritates you. And if you can give me some examples, put in the chat box. What are the things that are truly simple but irritates you when it won't happen? It won't happen. Like when these things happens to you, or like how could it be? This is so simple. Practice. Okay, these are the small irritants. Okay, yes. Okay, temper burst, and normally the temper burst happens not on a big scale but truly on the super duper small things that you could not even fathom, you could not even think of how could it happen. It's so simple, how could I miss it, right? Tip number two, this is truly, I've been talking about this over and over and over again. Don't ever isolate. Don't abdicate, because collaboration, connection is the key to making high quality decisions. Collaborations is truly a key to making high quality, high impact, high valued decisions. Like, even if you truly think that you are superlative excellent in what you do, you need a feedback. And feedback cannot come from you. You need someone else. And what's great, if you have a team, you have your close knit, you've got people with you who share the same values, who knows you beyond your challenges. Isolation is the shortest, the fastest way to fail. Let me repeat that. Isolation is the fastest, the quickest, the surest path to failing. Regardless of what decisions you are facing. Making it alone, isolated, without feedback is absolutely dangerous. Making certain decisions during uncertain times, it will avail you much if you learn that the truest decision that would be impactful and valuable is done in consultation, in collaboration, in partnership with people you trust. This will not happen overnight. That's why my simple tip, start building, nurturing real relationships, through relationships. And how do you know? You can test this. Many people would not want to get their hands dirty when things are going on a wayward with you. How many times you have experienced something happens in your life and all of a sudden all the people you believe are your friends shy away, have taken a path away from you simply because they don't want to be associated with the shit, with the mess that you are going through or about to go through. I've been through this in a couple and countless times in my life. When people start seeing that you're gonna be facing, you're gonna be out there with something that is difficult and challenging, the next thing, the best thing for them to do is to step away so that they will not be implicated. I'm blessed. Where I am today, I've got real people, real people who do not only hold the rope with me, but real people who carry the load with me. It's different when you have people who hold the rope with you. It's another thing when you have people who carries the load with you. And when you get to that moment, well, it takes practice and it takes time and it takes nourishment. It takes courage as well. It takes courage to say no to abusive relationship and yes to nurturing relationship. When you get to that moment, you will be ready to make certain decisions even it's uncertain time. Hack number 3, ready? How's everybody doing? Let me know in the chat box if you are connecting. Give me some emoji, give me some like wink. Okay? Just like let me know that this is valuable to you. If you're getting some value, just type in there valuable. If you are connecting, let me know, say connecting. If you are appreciating this, you say appreciating this. Like just make yourself known. When I say known, it means that we are acknowledging your voice. You are coming into the space. Let the people know that you are in the space and you are journeying with me today. Number 3, know that to make success inevitable, okay, you don't need a crystal ball. There ain't any crystal ball. Let me repeat that. To make success inevitable, you have to accept that there is no crystal ball. There is no crystal ball and you don't need a crystal ball. Okay. So if you are new to this, maybe you're thinking of a crystal ball is somebody who's holding the ball and predicting the future. And you would probably say, I'm not doing that. I don't have it. Sure. But how many of you here would do whatever it takes so that you can predict the future? You talk to countless of people, you listen to everything. I will not spell that now here because that's not my conversations with you. But like pull back and truth of the matter, how much time every single day do you waste trying to predict the future and how the future would be? I'll tell you the truth. No one has predicted COVID-19 perfectly. No one. Because if there is one person who's able to predict this perfectly, then it would have been a wildfire and there must be a lot of preparations done. Think about it. So no matter how you want to have a crystal ball, no matter how you want to predict the future, the future is not in your hands. Yes, there's the word of God that we can go back, refer, study, and learn. But truth of the matter, predicting the future is not in our hands. No matter how you try to predict for the future, it won't happen. And oftentimes, you are being challenged mentally because you want to predict the future, you want to take control of the future, you want to hold the future, and the future ain't happening the way you have seen it. You want to control it, you want to consult everything, okay? But it won't happen. There is no crystal ball. Only God holds the future. And the best thing for you, the super duper simple tip, trust in the one true God. Trust in a living God. Trust in the God that allows you to connect, communicate, and converse. Next tip, next hack, number 4, you have to understand your situation first before you understand others. Let me repeat that. You have to understand yourself, your decisions first before you can understand others. How many of you here, how many of you here is so consumed thinking about how other people around you is making a decision? Like, for example, I would always say this to my students. They would say, I'm not confident to make a decision. I would say, it's not that you're not confident to make a decision. It is you are not confident of how people will take your decision. That's two different things. Okay? Many of us are confident to make a decision. You must be confident to make a decision because you want that decision. But you're not making this decision because you are not confident about how others will think about your decision. And that's where the struggle is. If you want to be able to make certain decisions during uncertain times, you have to understand how you are making decision, how you are showing up, how are you managing things before you start thinking about others and even try understanding them. We can't, you can't. You can try all you want, but this is pandemic, it's COVID-19. Do you really want to waste your time continuously wasting thinking, evaluating how other peoples are making their decision? Start making a decision for yourself because that's the only thing you are responsible to do. Super duper tip, simple tip, super duper duper simple tip how to do this. You have only one life to live. Will you give it away? Will you give away the control, the remote control to others? By thinking about other people, you are giving away the remote control on how you spend your 24 hours in a day. Take back the control. Think about your life. Think about the decisions you're making. Think about how are you showing up every single day. And on my number 5, we will always say, be better. Be a little better every single day. Be a little better on how you do things. But here's what I'm challenging you to do. Be different. Be different. In a fast-paced world, in an era of rapid digitization, well, almost everything that we see are programmed and scripted, that people are now acting and responding like robots to make certain decisions in the times of uncertainty. Be different. When I say be different, I take to heart that you are responsible enough in becoming different. You are not going to be stupid to wreck your life just to be different. What I'm saying here is this. You are an adult. Make an adult decision. It's time for you to rise up for yourself. Uncertain times cannot be controlled, but you can control how you are responding to this. And if you are responding in a way that you are responsible, then definitely you can make certain decisions, even if it's difficult. On my final notes, I want to challenge you to look at this situation as not just a one-time event. Don't make decision because you're planning for a future. Make decision because you are planning and ready for many futures. Let me repeat that. Don't make your decision making today because you are making a stand or planning for a future. Make sure that your decision making today and the certain decisions you have to make or you're making is ready for multiple and countless of futures. The future is something that we cannot hold in our hands. What you have today can be gone tomorrow, and what you are feeling scarcity, like where you're in your area of your life where you're feeling the scarcity, it can be abundant in the future when you respond properly. So the future is not certain, but I'm certain that when you make the right stand today, when you stand on the ground that is firm, when you believe that your values is in an alignment with the decision making that you're doing, when you know that you are covered, surrounded by people who will be with you, who will carry the load with you when difficult times hit, when you are certain that amidst uncertainties, one thing is certain, and that is your life is set apart for a purpose, for a mission, because the Lord, the God we serve, have already purposely said, you are made to win. You are made to triumph. That is certain. Amidst uncertainties, you can make certain decisions because one thing I know and one thing is written, you are made to triumph. You are made to triumph in the name of God. You are made to advance. You are made to increase. You are made for abundance. You are made for greatness. You are made for life. You are made to declare and decree blessing. You are not made to murmur. You are not made for turmoil. You are not made for ranting. You are not made for complaining. You are not made to be helpless. You are made in the image and likeness of God. And today I challenge you, make a decision firm enough that as God have created you, you will fulfill your purpose in the land of the living and you will say yes to your calling regardless of uncertainties of this time. Certain is He who called you to be certain in your decision to advance and to make disciples of all nations. So I ask you right now, if you're watching, whatever is in your hands today, use it for the glory of God. This is Master Coach A signing off for Brewing Live. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. And I invite you to join me on Campfire this coming Sunday at 5 p.m. I'm starting a conversation that will birth and certain countless of missions in different pillars of our societies. If you want to know more, get in touch with Coach Rezzhel 0917-586-1661. I want to see you on Sunday inside Campfire here at the Cup Coffee Republic. That's an online and a free conversation. Let me know if you are interested. I look forward to seeing you. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a blessed Wednesday afternoon. Bye.